In the Overture Center, but it's just as awesome being in here. Every year, this is just so cool to look out and see everybody. And hi, everybody up above. This is what success looks like, right? This is awesome. This is great. So before we start the awards presentation, I first want to thank WDC. They have those brochures on your table. Last year we did the economic impact study. They updated their biohealth industry analysis that they use in their marketing for our industry, so we thank them and for getting them over here. And so we really appreciate their investment and also their sponsorship. And then next year we'll have our 2020 economic impact study. So with that, a couple other announcements. You have a VR thing. I haven't done it yet, but I know my team was. Take these things. There's directions, and you put that with the little thing, when you put your phone behind it, and it's a virtual reality. So just so you know, make sure you're reading the directions and take those. Those are all for you guys. And then finally, another promo. Aldebaran's been a big backer of this, and Tom said it well to me earlier today. There's a lot of us trying to build this industry, and we've got to come together to make it happen and to start to put us on the map. So please put on your calendars. CRISPRCon is next Tuesday at the Wisconsin Institute of Discovery, an all-day event. Tom, are we the fourth one that's done that? I think it's Boston, Southern California, Europe, like the Netherlands or something. And Berkeley. All right, so we followed Berkeley, but this is a big deal, and that was a group of companies. I know Promega was also involved. There was different companies making this happen. The university came together with you guys. That's what it takes. It takes energy, collaboration to start to tell the world what's happening in Madison and in this state. So not just Madison, Milwaukee, so excuse me, that was very bad, in Wisconsin. Because it is about Wisconsin. It isn't just about Madison. So thank you. That will be a great event, especially with CRISPR gene editing is such a hot topic now. But this touches on different ethics, this isn't your standard tech conference. This really gets into the ethics part. So please put that on your calendar. So you heard the first video today. I hope you guys all really like that Shine Medical video. This is part of our talent campaign. I love that one. I thought that was awesome, which I've said that several times. But now we're going to show our second video, which is Exact Sciences. This is narrated by Kevin Conroy. And I'm just going to say it right off, just so you know. Kevin's life is crazy, right? And so we had to have him come into the BioForward office and record. And unfortunately, it turned out kind of echoey. I was just going to fool you guys and just say it's the space, but it really was echoey, and we are going to re-record that before we get it out into our Phase 2 talent campaign. But it's still a really cool video, and so we are showing it. So, Exact Sciences.
Being late can affect your entire day, but can it change the entire trajectory of your life? Even though colon cancer is the #2 cancer killer, millions of Americans aren't getting screenings that could change their lives. It's one thing to miss your chance to catch the bus. It's something entirely different to miss your chance to catch cancer. So we ask ourselves, what if there was an easy way to screen people 50 and older at average risk for colon cancer using stool DNA technology? That was the creative impulse behind Cologuard, a non-invasive screening option that patients use in the comfort of their own home. At Exact Sciences, we are committed to using our expertise and determination to help detect cancer earlier. It's why we're also investing in research and development to create tests for additional forms of cancer. And to do this, we need passionate individuals with a range of backgrounds and expertise. Are you ready to achieve something meaningful? Join the Exact Sciences team today.
Oh, come on. All right. With that, I would now like to introduce the chairman of the BioForward board, Jay Hill, with GE Healthcare Imaging.
Thank you, Lisa. So quick note. First of all, greetings from our board. Welcome to the summit. Welcome to 2019 Wisconsin Biohealth Summit. I hope everyone's enjoying the agenda. Was the morning program good for everybody? Having a good time? All right, good. All It's really it's a pleasure to be on this board. It's a really interesting cross-section of some of the different sectors of the industry in the state, as well as some of the government and academic collaborators that make this community so rich. So we are proud to be able to bring you this conference. Our mission on the board is really kind of twofold. There's a little bit of the fiscal stewardship and make sure that we run things right, but it's really more about being a voice for the membership and how do we bring in the needs of the members. And that's that's what we talk about in our board meetings is, are we bringing member value? Are we doing what you guys need as a community? This year, we started some action committees as part of the board so we can attack some of the needs of the group. One of them is actually about member value and making sure that we're delivering that, directly making sure we're delivering that value back to membership. There's the Forward Bio Labs, and then we have a group around talent development. Lisa talked a little bit about this. I have not talked to anyone in this room or related to this community who hasn't mentioned the need for great talent, to attract and retain great talent into the region to be able to power the innovation that makes our industry work. So that's a big focus for us, and we did some work that Lisa mentioned earlier with Digital Ring. And so it's a really interesting digital campaign. And the goal of this is to make people aware of the jobs that are available in this industry in this region, and then point them to company websites so that they can get into your recruiting funnel. They can see what your opportunities are like. So really happy with the initial results, and we hope to be able to show more from that. Let's see, what else? Could we have our board stand up, please? Just to recognize you, and the names are on we won't go around and introduce everybody, but please, thank you, board members. Thank you. And then the last of the action committees is one that would actually, is working on updating the economic impact analysis, economic impact study that we've done every few years, which we find is very useful in many different venues. Including talking to government and saying, look, here's the value of this sector in the local economy. Here's the direct impact of our companies, and here's the way that this kind of filters into the economy through the supply chain. So it's very impressive, and we're looking forward to a new edition of that coming out soon. Last thing is, this group wouldn't work if it weren't for the outstanding professional staff that we have. Our job as a board is easy, and you should rest assured that your interests as members, they're really being very carefully guarded, and a lot of energy and a lot of activity going on with this team, with representation in the Milwaukee area, the core team here in Madison. This event wouldn't be possible, our annual meeting wouldn't be possible without the tireless efforts of that professional staff. They run a tight ship, and they deserve a round of applause as well for all the work that they do. So, that's all I have to say. I hope you enjoy the afternoon. I hope the morning did meet all of your expectations, and I hope that the afternoon continues to exceed your expectations. Have a great day.
Good, thank you. As a follow-up to Jay, I also want to thank our volunteers. We did have a few running around, and also at our registration table. They were from WeSolve, Catalyst, Bioconsulting, and also South Central Workforce Development. So thank you for those volunteers. We needed them. It's a small team, as Jay said, so it's kind of hard to manage all of this. I describe this as running 5 weddings in one day. So now to my favorite part of the summit. It really is. This is so much fun to honor individuals in both scientific and business achievement. Our 2019 lunch program honors 2 amazing individuals for their achievements. The first will be Laura Johnson Douglas, receiving the 2019 Biohealth Business Achievement Award, and then to Thomas Rock Mackie, receiving the 2019 Hector F. DeLuca Scientific Achievement Award. We're now in the 5th year of these awards. They are designed by an individual called Tim Killinger. He can't be here again this year. He's actually a teacher in Mount Horeb. He contracts with craftsmen throughout Wisconsin to build these beautiful awards. So it's kudos to him and to those craftsmen that were able to put these together once again. With that, let's go to the past business awards slide, which, yes, there we go. So now we move on to the 2019 Wisconsin Business Achievement Award. We've had phenomenal past awardees, from Bill Linton to Ralph Conton. And I would like Ralph to stand up. He was our 2016 awardee, and he is here today. Then in 17, we moved on to Cynthia LaConte, and then last year was Kevin Conroy. And now I would like to introduce Laura Strong, who will be presenting the 2019 Wisconsin Biohealth Business Achievement Award to Laura Johnson Douglas.
Well, today I have the honor of introducing Laura Johnson as she receives this award. I could tell you a traditional story of someone with specialized expertise, because Laura is in fact a nurse, that translated that into clinical operations role in biotech industry and then started her own company running clinical studies with a focus on renal disease. It would be enough to tell you that and end with the fact that she and her team have built a company, Next Generation Clinical Research, that is still sought after for their expertise 20 years after founding. But that's only a small piece of who Laura is and what she's accomplished. I had the good fortune to meet Laura when I was learning about oncology clinical trials as we built our own company. We were connected so I could learn from an expert on how to operationalize a study protocol. She was generous with her time, teaching me about both the clinical side as well as the people. As most of us who have run clinical studies can attest, our relationships with our outside partners are significant drivers of the quality of our studies and our ability to deliver new drugs to patients. And that's why the work of Next Generation Clinical is so important. As we got to know each other, we would talk about the other things happening in our lives. And I remember the time that Laura told me that she was going to be a co-founder in a new bank. And I have to admit, my initial thought was, a bank? But as she talked about it, I realized that the other co-founders share the same entrepreneurial spirit that Laura has, and that it scratched the itch of learning and growing in a different way. Another time, she told me that she had joined the board of a publicly traded biotech company. What a thrill to be able to see a very different kind of company grow and develop. Now that happened in 2013, and I want to point out two particular things about this particular achievement. First, there are very few women that sit on the boards of publicly traded biotech companies. And this is a little bit of an area where Laura is very passionate about women in biotech and making sure that we are represented. So in a study of 177 biotech companies that filed to go public from 2012 to 2015, there were only 10% of the board positions that were filled by women. And of those positions, 50% of the women on those boards were on the audit committee, suggesting that they actually had financial backgrounds and weren't really industry specific. A huge accomplishment for Laura. And to give you perspective on how that's changed, BIO, our National Biotech Association, set a goal for 2025 to have 30% representation on these public boards for women. So again, a pioneer. The other thing I want to point out is that there are very few Wisconsin biotech entrepreneurs or even CEOs of our large biotech companies that sit on these public boards. So again, a huge accomplishment and a huge recognition for what she brings. And this award really is for Laura's business achievements. And unfortunately, I don't really have the time to tell you about some of her more personal endeavors, like how she gives back by being part of the Medical Reserve Corps, or in her new nonprofit business venture, which is a sanctuary for farm animals, or about the pride that you can feel when she talks about supporting her daughters, Alyssa and Amanda, as they grow into accomplished women in their own business ventures. So as I turn the mic over to Laura, I hope you will join me in welcoming someone who is not only successful in building businesses, but is giving, encouraging, courageous, and curious.
Oh, wow, I don't even know how to follow that. I'm emotional. Thank you, Laura. Wow, I'm super honored to be here today. I'm super honored to get this award. And mostly, I have to say, I'm stunned. I'm stunned because everything I kind of do is under the radar, to be honest with you. I just do what I do because that's what I do. And Next Generation is a small company. We are celebrating our 20th anniversary next month, which is amazing for a small biotech service company. Started from nothing, basically. But I'm just really kind of stunned. Like I said, under the radar, small company. We work with a lot of international companies. We work with orphan drugs and critical care therapeutic areas. And we do have the honor of working with a few of the Wisconsin biotech companies, which you don't hear about, as I mentioned, under the radar, because we're here to support them in their success as a consulting firm or CRO. So, like I said, I'm stunned, I'm very honored, but I can tell you the number one reason I am standing here with any kind of success is because of this table. My family is here. My daughters, my boyfriend, and my colleagues. I have to tell you, I am a talker, I am an idea maker, I'm somebody that waves my hands around and wears crazy clothes and does crazy stuff. But these people are the doers. So I might come up with a great idea and I might put something together, but I am not good at organizing. I am not good at checking numbers. I am not good at keeping track of my time. My people are, and we make a great team, and we've been doing this for 20 years. Some of the employees at Next Generation have actually been working with me long before Next Generation, some of them up to 29 years. So when you have something really good and you have a good team put together, it makes a success, not necessarily the person who's standing at the front. And I have to say, in 1999, when I did start this business, I was a really green entrepreneur, really green. I had just come from Bone Care International, a la getting Hectorol approved, and very green. And I decided that, we had a drug that was on the market, and my interest still really lied with developing new things. So I started Next Generation, and I basically sucked in every resource I could possibly take to actually build a business that was going to be a success. Because a woman-owned business in biotech in Wisconsin back in the late 90s, that was like, I don't even think there was another woman-led business in Wisconsin in biotech in the late 90s. And here yet we persevere. I think that, I think back to even before that when I was 27 years old. My career, if you read my bio, takes me back to what was Hazelton. I was 26 years old, and I walked into a boardroom of a very conservative, old pharmaceutical company with a table full of 12 men in suits. And I was 27 years old. And I was probably not dressed in a suit, because that is not me. And I had to give a scientific presentation to these men to convince them that I could do the work with my team that they needed to have done. And I can tell you there wasn't a smile or anything welcoming in the entire room, because that just isn't how business was done back then. And I can tell you, by the time I did get done talking and I walked out of the room, we actually got the deal. So that's kind of what inspired me. But it also inspired me to believe that things need to change. And that's why I really kind of like the tagline of this meeting this year. How are we incorporating technology and creativity into change for the Biotech Association? It is not the way we have done things forever. Next Generation, because of our evolution over the last 20 years, we have become a very hybrid company. We we are a specialty group, sought after for specialty things, but we're also remaining small and flexible so that we can adapt to some of these things that are changing constantly. If you don't, things begin to fail and businesses don't succeed. So I really am kind of invigorated when I see that we're bringing in some of these new things and these new companies and these new ideas, because we have to think outside of our box about what we do. Even in clinical trials, there's all kinds of new technological advancements that we can actually use to study new drugs or assess patients. And if you're not looking for those kind of things, you're missing a big opportunity. So I really think that we're headed in the right direction there. The other thing I think about, and I was a member of the Wisconsin Biotech Association back in the very early days, we have, look at all the women in the room, look at all the diversity in the room. This is great. I am no longer the only women CEO of a biotech organization in Wisconsin. And I also have the insight into looking at the biotech associations in California and the East Coast, because I participate in some boards and some businesses there. And I have to say that I think that Wisconsin actually has their act together far more than the rest of the country. We have a really cohesive group here. We have these amazing seminars that we do for people in the state. And I know people are here from, the Midwest beside Wisconsin, trying to get yourself educated and brought up to what they do here. I think that's really important. And so we are definitely forward in that thinking. Laura mentioned some of the crazy things that I have done. One was starting a bank. I was offered the opportunity to get involved with starting a new business bank. And I thought, well, that's kind of not what I do. But I love to start new businesses. And you know what? Banks are really regulated, and so is drug development. I can do this. And so we did start Settlers Bank back in 2008. And I think part of what success is creating opportunity. And in 2008, everything was crashing with banks. People couldn't get loans. There was all those problems. But yet we started a bank with a bunch of very smart business people, and we were able to offer loans to businesses, biotech companies alike, that were good businesses, but couldn't get loans in banks because banks just couldn't even extend any credit because of their other issues. So that was one way of grabbing an opportunity and making it success. And the bank is still successful today. And I can tell you, I have learned a great deal about looking at loans and businesses that are coming through that bank. And it's helping form my ideas and my thoughts for how things need to be, a little more diverse for the future. But that's one of the other interesting things. I think that, if you can create opportunities for some of the things that are, making our future, that's important. I just want to say one last thing before I get off stage, because, I can talk, and I came up here just totally to ad lib. But this morning, before the sun came up, I was standing with a different pair of boots than I have on right now. I was in a barn with a very sick alpaca that was rescued from a neglected situation. And I recently started a farm sanctuary, as Laura told you. And to me, as just responsible citizens, business owners, leaders, we need to do things that are good. The thing that I want to do is I want to do something good with my skills, my business, my interests, and I decided to start a farm sanctuary. I think we all have a responsibility to do something good. So whether it's for people, it's for animals, environment, or science, we all should do something good. And so anyhow, create an opportunity to do that. Thank you very much for this award.
Okay, that was really cool. Do not change your clothes or how you behave. You didn't get to hear me. I talked about Dolly Parton this morning. She would love you. Just because, so is she the perfect example, again, for anyone that heard me, and I, again, not as articulate as Laura. You talk about not being in walls or letting people define you. You've defined yourself. So thank you. And thanks, Laura, for all those stats and bringing to the attention how we can continue to do more and elevate women and diversity in our companies. So thanks for bringing it. That was a great information to bring up. Thank you, Laura. That was really awesome. Okay, see, I love this part. I learned so much from people. It's great. So now to the Scientific Achievement Award. This award is named after Dr. Hector F. DeLuca. He was our first awardee. Hector has made it every single year except this year. And I said, what do you mean you're taking a vacation? You can't take a vacation during my summit. So he always sat over there, and he really hated missing this. But okay, we'll let him have a vacation. Isn't he like 88 or something? I should let him have a vacation. So we have had many great honorees, just as we have in business. We've had it with the Scientific Achievement. We've had, after Hector DeLuca was Dr. James Thompson, then to Dr. Lynn Allen Hoffman, and last year Dr. Alan Cawley, that also gave a really emotional speech that I thought was just also very inspirational. So this awardee I have long admired. I've learned a lot from Rock. Except when you really go deep into any science, and you know Lisa can't understand that. So, but otherwise, I've learned a great deal from you, and it's really been an honor to be able to work with you in a variety of different ways. But with that, I'd now like to present Mark Gehring, who's going to be presenting the Hector F. DeLuca Scientific Achievement Award to Rock.
So, I am Mark Gehring. I've had the privilege of knowing Rock Mackie and his wife Pam since Rock came to UW-Madison in 1987, which I was shocked to realize is 32 years. So Rock was already famous when he came to UW. He had developed the convolution superposition method, which is an algorithm, try not to go release his head here, for computing radiation dose inside a patient in a very accurate way. At UW, he wanted to perform a treatment called stereotactic radiosurgery. That's an inoperable brain tumor treatment where you hit the tumor from a lot of different angles. But the planning systems were two-dimensional and couldn't handle that treatment. So we developed software to do that, and that software evolved into the first commercial 3D radiation treatment planning system. We formed a company. Rock came up with a name, I believe, Geometrics, which is our names, Gehring, Mackie, Reckworth, Sanders. That technology was eventually acquired by Philips Medical Systems, and by 2007, 1,400 of the 2,300 radiotherapy departments in the U.S. were using that software. It's estimated that 25% of the radiation treatments in the world were planned with that software since the mid-90s. And every one of those treatments used Rock's convolution superposition method to provide more accurate dose computation and better tools for those physicians treating patients and saving lives. While all that was going on, Rock was developing another technology, tomotherapy. So a tomotherapy machine is like an inverse CT scanner. A CT scanner rotates around you, shoots X-rays through you, and reconstructs a 3D image. A tomotherapy machine, you say, I want this three-dimensional dose distribution in the patient, and it figures out the beams to deliver exactly that dose into the patient. It is an insanely complex machine. Just as one example, that linear accelerator, all those collimators, this complicated device, is rotating so you can't have wires going to it. So all the power, the data, the communication, all has to go through what's called a slip ring. Hugely complicated, remarkable achievement. And so it's very impressive that Rock came up with the concept and all the mathematics, but then he actually did it, which involved raising money, starting a company, hiring people, working through all those engineering issues, getting FDA clearance. Tomotherapy machines are now used across the world to treat patients. And they had a nice IPO in 2007 that valued the company at over $1 billion. So Rock is a smart guy, to say the least, but it's not limited to medical physics. In the late 90s, I was with Rock at the Karolinska Institute, and we went to dinner with Anders Brahme, a medical physicist, also a famous physicist. And somehow the conversation went to what is the best berry in the world? And these two guys are talking about, the lingonberries from the eastern slope of this mountain are the best. It's unbelievable. So these two brilliant medical physicists also had encyclopedic knowledge of berries. So If you had a conversation with somebody that knows everything about everything, you might think that could be annoying. But with Rock, it is exactly the opposite, because when you talk to Rock, he is listening, he's engaged, he's curious, he's challenging you. He is throwing out ideas, lots of ideas. They're not always good, by the way. But those conversations have benefited countless entrepreneurs, business leaders, politicians, students. Rock's former students are leading medical physics departments around the world. So the impact Rock has had on Madison, on Wisconsin, on the world is remarkable. And I'm very fortunate to be able to call Rock a dear friend. So with that, it's my honor on behalf of BioForward to present to Rock the 2019 Hector F. DeLucas Scientific Achievement Award.
Well, Mark misspoke a little bit. I didn't invent tomotherapy. A whole lot of people invented tomotherapy, and really that's true of my whole career. I came to the University of Wisconsin because it was simply the best place in the world to do medical physics. It's now the largest. It's one of the oldest, and it's certainly the best. It's the largest basic science department in our medical school. And most medical schools don't even have medical physics. So that shows the impact. So I'm really a product of that program, of the great students, and the people I've worked with. Mark, for example, was a programmer in my research group assigned to do this stereotactic radiosurgery program. He was funded by the University Hospital. It wasn't even on a federal grant. The hospital wanted to do stereotactic radiosurgery, and we needed to do a treatment planning system. And so it was really an opportunity, I guess, to take the hospital's money and fund a guy like Mark. Now, Mark, and by the way, this treatment planning system, a typical treatment planning system today would have dozens and dozens of programmers. We only had 2, but we only needed 2 because we had Mark. Just to show you how good he is, I don't know how many IT knowledgeable people there are, but the software was originally written in Fortran. It was on a VAX operating system, and it used a display system called Lexadata. Now this is all old jargon. You've never probably heard of any of that these days. Maybe you have Fortran. But we had implemented it. We had, in those days, there was no FDA approval of medical software. So we could write the software, or Mark could write the software, in the morning, and we could treat patients with it in the afternoon. Thank God we can't do that anymore, but you know what? We didn't have any problems because we're guys like Mark. So just to show you what Mark did, I said it was written in Fortran with a VAX operating system with a Lexadata display system. So we had a break over Christmas, I think it was 1990. And Mark decided to rewrite it in more modern code. So over about a 7-week period, he went from Fortran to C. He went from VAX to Unix. And he got rid of the Lexadata hardware display and went with a thing called X Windows. Now, those weren't necessarily where the field was going to go, right? And so there was wonderful people. Paul Ruckwert, said you should go with X Windows, and he was absolutely right. To get rid of these specific displays. So my career is built on people like that, built on people like Mark and the large number of graduate students I had at the University of Wisconsin. And again, they wanted to come here, so we got the best students in the world coming to our program. So my success is really is the success of a huge, huge group of people. And it's hard to please everybody all the time. And I remember my father, I was very proud of the software, and took him into Geometrics, the name of the company that Mark and I and Paul and Cameron Sanders founded. And he said, "This just looks like simulation to me." I said, "Well, it's treatment planning, Dad, and it's used to help plan the system." And he said, "Well, why can't you do something real? I mean, with hardware." And so I told him about tomotherapy, and but tomotherapy really didn't exist then. It was only a concept. So family is so important in giving ambition, and my father was certainly like that. And my wife and my kids have really been a foundation in my career. So the other thing about getting this award I wanted to mention before I forget is that it's so gratifying to have the Hector DeLuca Award. I know Hector, a great man. I think he's the #1 patent generator for WARF from all his vitamin D patents. But Hector believed firmly that you couldn't have an idea and just put it into a publication or get a grant. Hector believed that you needed to go and help people. Just like my father said, why don't you do something real instead of something simulated? And I think this is so true of science. It's such an opportunity for scientists to take their ideas and knowledge and not just stuff them away in a library, even though now it's electronically acquired, but to actually take it to the next step. Take it to as far as it takes until someone's willing to take your best ideas and implement them at the bedside. Because, that's really our ambition in innovation in healthcare. And unless we're really conscious of taking it to the next level and not just kind of throwing it over the fence, we really won't make progress. And it really involves that second half, that innovation part, really relies on the willingness of academia to take it to the next level. And when Mark and I started Geometrics in 1992, that's almost 30 years, it'll be soon 30 years ago, the university had no programs at all to help innovation and commercialization, none at all. It was, I call it benign neglect. At least it was benign. But today the university has transformed, and so now there is actual innovation that's going on within the university, at least to the point of enriching technology, making it better. Still not to the point at the University of Wisconsin, where the university will allow company formation and starting companies to take it to the next level. So when I was approached by Rick Moss and Kurt Zimmerman last year to say that UW Health would start a program to innovate technology and to commercialize technology and go to the next level, to be able to take equity in it and help it post-business formation. I thought, what an opportunity. And it just makes so much sense for UW Health, which is a not-for-profit, independent or reasonably independent from the University of Wisconsin, to go to the next level and to be able to do that. So they convinced me to become the first director of the Isthmus Project, and our goal is to innovate and take to commercialization great ideas, both from UW School of Medicine and Public Health, but also from physicians and nurses and other staff in UW Health. And so the Isthmus Project is really, to me, the best analogy is, imagine if you were a civil engineer and you were making beautiful, efficient, low-cost bridges, and that was your career. You were making the next generation of bridges in an engineering school, in civil engineering. And wouldn't it be great if there was a bridge building company within engineering, within the School of Engineering? Well, that in effect is what we have. When we have the close synergy between UW Health and UW School of Medicine and Public Health, that's like the civil engineer having the bridge building company in their backyard. That means that there's real customers around of your ideas that can give you feedback and tell you whether they think they're good, and you can brainstorm with them and determine not only what they want today, but where they think the field is going. So it's a tremendous opportunity, I think, that's going on here with UW Health and the Ismith Project and the School of Medicine and Public Health. And I really do think that this will pioneer the whole university to take another look at innovation and commercialization so that they can take the next step and really help companies all the way through their life cycle. In fact, I'm very encouraged. I think I want all of you to take out your cell phones. I want you to enter impact, IMPACT, .wisc.edu, and you're going to see there, I think, for the first time, that the University of Wisconsin is starting to brag about our innovation and commercialization. In fact, I think for the first time ever written, it says that the University of Wisconsin is interested in economic development. And I think this is how this organization is going to grow. It's how the city is going to grow. It's how this medical industry that we now have in Wisconsin is going to grow. I really do think that we are the powerhouse. We are the gem of the state at the University of Wisconsin. And we can be the powerhouse to drive this state to the next level, both to help patients, but also to help the economy. So thank you very much. And before I forget, I'm going to thank my wife again for raising all those wonderful 4 kids of mine. And thank you all for your support and love over the last 32 years.
Okay, that concludes our lunch program. One thing I want to just say about Rock, well, one, he's a very humble man. And when I met with him a couple of months ago, he told me, like in this month span here, he received a very prestigious international award, a very prestigious national award. Okay, we were 3rd, and he goes, but this is the best one, Lisa. So again, major impact, and again, you guys saw that Shine video. Mark, you hit it right? His tentacles go out, is what he has. It's going everywhere. And so we're really fortunate to have someone like you, Rock, that has created that opportunity for so many of us here in the state. So thank you. So we're going to start at 1:35 because I know we're running late. 3 sessions. One in the Overture Center, our technology, RNAi, and CRISPR gene editing, kind of what they can learn from each other. Up in Promenade is Center of Technology, Commercialization, and a phenomenal resource to this state, to entrepreneurs. That is about the SBIR Advanced Program. And then in the Wisconsin room is the Women in Biohealth Program. This is finding your allies in the workplace. 3 amazing women, so hard to choose from, but and these are fireside chats, only 35 minutes, so very short discussions with some question and answer periods. All right, thank you so much, and hit those next sessions.